Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. I'm going to jump back in the queue. At the moment, however, there are very few players online. There's like 17. So I would not be too surprised if we didn't get a game, but look at that. Someone's been waiting in queue for hours, just waiting for me to show up. There's one reason, by the way, that I keep base plus 5 in. I know like people are all, I don't know. Is that like you get matched? What if cost cut didn't have, you see people who are in the top 20 and they're waiting like, 15 minutes for a match in the middle of the day. I think there are plenty of people who queue only, who like don't queue base plus 8 at the time controls I want to play, and at least with base plus 5 I get to play some. Anyway, like green is like pretty good here, obviously, right? What about red? Probably. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of pretty fast stuff here, right? Everything except Mahar is pretty fast. Pretty low econ, rushy stuff. Can you support a Mahar in addition to all of that? Maybe. Well, 2 Mahars, right? I'm inclined to try to just go for like Protos, build up a couple of attack with Fissions and Gaussite, and then like start a proto chain for tempo. And if you ever live long enough for the fission turrets to expire, like turning the excess green into Gauss charges will be totally fine. Player 2 is going to have a much easier time with this, however. Which is kind of a bummer. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're always going to get the conduit before me, but I'll get the Animus first, and I can grab the first symbiote, which is kind of like a cool unit to have. Or maybe 2 Tarsiers into a symbiote or something. I expect the drone count in this game to be like, I don't know, not that high. 13 maybe? Ooh, okay, DA. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. That probably is better. What if I went CA? Is the thing that I'm thinking? It's like DDA is sort of natural here. But what if I just had 10 drones? Right? Like I could get a symbiote and a fission turret. And get started on the like higher green amounts pretty quickly. I don't know, I feel like Protoplasm is kind of encouraging a little bit more econ than this. But I really want to get started on green. Yeah. I could also go TT2. Instead of 4-2? I don't know, I guess I'll try this. Okay, well, I was grabbing a Gaussite, fine. So... I think I want a fission. And I think I want to start having 2 green immediately. And plus the slowness of Tarsier does matter because opponent, like we're already over the absorb barrier sort of with like the Rhino that opponent could build next turn. This also makes it a bit harder for them to get a second symbiote, which I think is like a thing that they really would like. You can't easily like add a second green while also absorbing this turn. Not easily, anyway. So, yeah, let's go for it. Now it's hard for them to get a proto with this Gauss charge coming. And I should be able to get my own proto pretty comfortably. Well, I don't know about comfortably. Actually, this Tarsier is maybe a little misguided. I have a bit too much green in a way, and it's not going to be easy for me to spend the excess. Yeah, it is. I can just get like Proto Gauss Charge next turn, or Proto Force Field if they somehow build enough attack that seems like a good idea. I guess I forgot they can hold a drone. Whoops. Okay, that's 7 attacks, kind of a big deal, isn't it? Still, having the extra green was pretty nice. I'm glad I didn't get a... Well, I don't know. They couldn't have held back a drone if if this had been a... This play would not have been available to them if I had gotten one of a fission turret instead of this Tarsier. This is pretty cool, though. I'm very much in favor of opponent not buying protoplasms. On the other hand, I'm going to have a little trouble. No, I can just get Proto hold 1 drone. That's defends, right? That is not legal. It would defend. Okay, well, I'll hold a Rhino instead. This breaches for exact, which is pretty cool. Another Proto here is not exactly viable, because I'm $1 short of what I need. But like, they have to click their Rhino here in order to breach. And if they do that, they have at most 4 defense with all the drones. So I can toss in a Gauss Charge, which kills all of their drones. I might not have enough staying power here. I think this might be an endgame that I lose. I get in for 4, but then I only have like 2 attack after that, right? And that kills a Rhino. They kill... Now I can get a 3rd attack, kill this. I might be okay. What could I do instead? I could hold the drone instead of building this. That's good because it lets me click the Rhino again. And then I'll have it still next turn, I think. And this saves me the green. Oh, I forgot they can force field. What am I thinking? Oh my god, I can click this, huh? That's really great. I think. Maybe it's more important to force field and save this for later? No, I need to do it now so that they can't click their own symbiote next turn, I think. I lose a Rhino here, and then I swing for 6, 7, 8 into their 1, 2, 5, 7 damage. I get to kill their fission turret early. But I just have like a Tarsier and a Rhino and some drones. But these drones are going to be force fields. And I think this is enough to kill a symbiote the turn after that. On the other hand, they get to click the other symbiote then? Ugh. Oh, this doesn't kill the fission turret. Oh no. Ah! Boy. They're gonna click Symbiote for sure. No, they can't. So I'm gonna Breach for 1 Symbiote next turn and have 3 drones left with which to like Force Field or something. And an Engie. I think I'm getting there. And then this Rhino will be there to absorb against the Symbiote until they finally click it. No, I just need to, well, the only way they can win is to click this Symbiote immediately, so I just have to survive against that, which, that's 6 damage, right? I clearly win, so this Gauss Charge is fine. It's basically like doing 1 damage. Yeah, and, I don't know. Oh, I get to kill even more? I can't kill your thing, dude. You don't often get to win a game by elimination. Usually opponent beats you to it with a Resign. Scary game. Very... I mean, this is sort of like typical of red-green, but it was very, very sharp, right? There were many moments where a single gold was the deciding factor in, like, a huge difference between, like, I don't know. Here, for example, like, if I could have squeezed out 1 extra damage, opponent would have had to make a bigger concession to get out this protoplasm. I'm not sure if that would have been winning. Like, if that would have been better for me. It seems like it would have, though. Like, because remember I was talking on this turn about maybe getting something instead of that fission, that Tarsier. Getting the Gauss Charge did as much damage as having, well, it did as much immediate damage. I guess there wasn't a way I could have pushed out more damage? I don't know. Well, sure there is. I could have gotten 2 Gauss Charges. So cut this Tarsier, get a Gauss Charge, and still buy the Gauss Charge I did get. It's sort of more natural to get like a Rhino instead, and that's doing the same amount of damage. But given how important it is to apply pressure right now, this Tarsier is pretty bad. Right, like suppose, let's just, for example, say I get this. Opponent wants a Proto. And Force Field to defend, like, kind of looks fine. But you can't then get the Fission Turret. You could cut the Force Field for a Fission Turret, but you don't have enough drones to hold. So you kind of are sort of, you have to do this. And I think 2 Engies is probably good, so let's do it. But now, like, I can actually exploit a little by holding back my Rhino, and I'm not sure how convincing an exploit it is, because, it kind of sucks. Opponent's gonna make me lose this Rhino, which I'm not exactly happy about. But I think they're going to click this proto. I think it's just way too... Trying to save this to somehow absorb on it again is the wrong idea. And opponent wants another proto. So this defends. That seems pretty good as a line. Oh, God, everything is like razor sharp here. And finally, opponent is the first one who can't buy a proto anymore. It just cannot be done. I mean, I don't know. I guess we could look at this briefly, but I'm pretty sure that not having a proto is game over. Yeah. I have enough to keep buying them, and it's just too much to deal with. So I can finally make opponent not buy one. I assume they get a force field, or a Rhino and some force fields, and like this is kind of the only line. But the Rhino like just sucks. Yeah, okay. This is very winning for me, it seems like. And it's winning pretty quickly. So... basically... when looking at my decision of whether to purchase Tarsier or Fission Turret this turn, it's kind of natural to buy Tarsier because it spends your red, right? And that's cool. But of course, like, spending your resources is a heuristic for estimating a good turn, right? For guiding you towards a good turn. It's not in itself a goal. You have 2 red, and at the end of the turn you're going to have 0 whether you spend it or not. So you should spend it if it gives you a better turn. It's a good heuristic because often, like, spending resources lets you get good things. And red and blue go away if you don't spend them. However, here, like, the decision whether to build a Tarsier or a Fission Turret is, like, the difference is 1 green in cost, right? If I buy the Fission Turret instead, I'm down a green. And I'm up a damage. Not a permanent damage, but like 1 single damage dealt to my opponent. And I have the like further downside that the Fission Turret has lifespan. If Fission Turret didn't have lifespan, this would be a no-brainer. You would just waste the red. Because it's like buying a Gauss charge for 0 in the green instead of 1 in the green to turn this Tarsier into a Fission Turret, and that seems like a great deal. Given that I'm willing to pay 1 in the green, apparently, since I did in fact spend 1 in the green on a Gauss charge, getting a second one for just a green would be amazing, wouldn't it? And it's one of those, like... It's not an inflection point, but it kind of has that same feeling, doesn't it? Like, the tipping point, maybe. Just that 1 extra damage makes opponent's turn that much worse and gives me a much more, like... it's not having this 1 extra damage on me every turn makes a big difference to my ability to buy more protos. And the endgame from that decision seems a lot more decisive for me. On the other hand, I also, in that line, sort of, like, lost a Rhino. He didn't get to attack. Which kind of stinks. So I'm not sure why that ending worked out so much better for me. I guess just, like, opponent couldn't get the Fission Turret. The answer's easy. That's great. The actual endgame was a lot more difficult. Right, opponent needed to click the Rhino to make me get, like, a mediocre proto. And this fission turret lifespan really mattered, actually, like this first one. Well, I don't know. I guess I still won even with the fission turret on lifespan, so arguably it didn't matter, right? But it certainly made things a lot scarier. Yeah, what a close one, huh? Only ever built one permanent attacker all game. That's not true. I built 2, but then I blew one of them up. Cool. Well, a fun game. If you're into these red-greens anyway, which I like red-green. Anyway, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.